Labour had their yearly meeting, the NEC, the National Executive Committee, and it sounds like it was an absolute disaster. It sounds like the party is in complete disarray, and particularly about trans people and a few other things. So this is a report of what happened by some of the representatives. So this is like from within this organization, them criticizing like their own organization. So I think it's quite a big deal. This is on labourhub.org.uk. So, I mean, this whole thing just sounds like a disaster. In an unprecedented move, it was declared by the party that they will no longer be informing the NEC of membership numbers. Like, okay, why would you stop reporting your membership numbers unless they were falling really fast? The left and most trade union reps voted against the cancelling of the Equalities Committee's conferences, which are stipulated in the party rulebook, losing 15-14. So they've, because at least off the back of, or ostensibly off the back of this Supreme Court ruling, they were like, oh, we're going to ban all trans women from the women's conference. Actually, we're going to cancel the whole women's conference because we don't want what we're doing. So that looks like a disaster already, that Labour have cancelled their women's conference, because why? Like, it, for the last however long it's been running, there's been trans women there and it's not been an issue, and trans women can contribute to the democratic process and can be part of the Labour Party. Like, why should they be banned from it? But then to cancel the whole women's conference over it, over like at most 1% of the people there being trans, has now removed like half of the people in the country who might be part of the Labour Party without a conference to discuss issues that affect them specifically. Just complete joke. But then they've cancelled all of the Equalities Committee's conferences. So it feels like, this feels like now a power grab by right-wing people within the party. I don't know. I'm not part of the Labour Party. I am not an expert in the Labour Party. This just looks like a fucking disaster to me. Despite opposition from the left, this year's women's conference has been cancelled, reducing women's involvement in policy making due to security risk, political risk, and legal risk relating to the exclusion of trans women from positive action that benefits women. So yeah, the absolute state of this fucking country is some right-wing shitheads went to the Supreme Court and somehow managed to get the court to ban trans people from even being involved in the decision and then take away our rights in the name of defending women, which the whole media went along with, which the Labour Party's gone along with, and then they've been like, oh, well, it looks like now we've finished defending women, we have to cancel the women's conference and everything to do with women and reduce women's ability to discuss things that affect them. It's just, what is so ridiculous is it's so clear to anyone who's paying attention to any of this at all that this isn't benefiting women in any way. Trans people have known, feminists have known for the entire time that the trans panic has been going on, that the attacks on trans people are going to hurt all women. And here it is just happening in front of our eyes. What we all knew what would happen. They attack trans people and then all women lose out. So bearing in mind they cancelled the women's conference, they also voted to exclude trans women from it. With 19 votes, the NEC voted to exclude trans women from positive action measures relating to women, including all women's shortlists, women's officers, being included in gender-based quotas, National Women's Committee, and the Women's Conference. So now that means that trans women just have everything even harder than they did before within the Labour Party. The whole point in things like all women's shortlists are because women are underrepresented in politics. That's not magically untrue for trans people, trans women. Trans women are even less represented in politics. than cis women are. And not just because there's a lot less of us, but, in reference to how many of us there are, we're even underrepresented in that regard. We've got to go up against both misogyny and transphobia when getting into these positions. So, and also, if you ever have gender-based quotas, why the hell would you ever involve a trans woman now? Because if you're the kind of person who is being forced to have a minimum number of women, it's not just happening naturally. If they say you have to have at least a third of the people involved in your organization have to be women, you're like, oh God, how am I going to fill the spaces with women? Then you're not going to have a trans woman, are you? Because that's just a woman who is someone you don't want to include because you're the kind of misogynist who has created an environment where you're being forced to meet a quota. But it's one who doesn't even contribute to the quota. So trans women are just now effectively excluded from anything like that. So the system they've created actually actively works against, or works in favor of misogyny in those cases. Just complete joke. They challenged ministers, blah, blah, blah. And the Labour has reported that the party is experiencing financial woes. Sounds like just a complete mess. But I think there was a little bit more on trans people. So Bridget Phillipson is the Minister for Women's and Equalities, and she is made it a big deal that she's publicly anti-trans. So here, one of the people, Jess, asked her about her comments, and she said, not only the government accepts the ruling, but they meant trans women cannot use women's toilets, a move which clearly undermines trans women's dignity and puts them at risk. Phillipson restated the position, also saying that the government will be setting up a draft conversion practice that will be trans inclusive. Also, the conversion therapy bill. I think there is another thing here. Yeah, so this is just more about cancelling the women's conference. Again, Jess here emphasised the complete opposition to the Supreme Court ruling, but focused on the legal issues. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a complete mess. The whole thing, that it just feels like the Labour... I mean, we can all see that the Labour Party is currently steering off the edge of a cliff. And every single big public decision they seem to be making just seems to be pushing them further and further right and making them less and less popular with the only people who would ever vote for them. And it is tied up in this trans culture war stuff. For some reason, the people in control of the ship think they need to attack women's rights, attack trans people's rights, attack disabled people, attack immigrants. And it's all tied together, and they all... And it's making a mess, and they're having to do things like hide their member numbers and cancel conferences, and it's just a joke. Like, what is going on? They need to change leadership. And if they change leadership, they need to not get fucking West Streeting. That is for sure. My God. There couldn't be anyone worse to lead the Labour. Like, he would be worse than Kier Starmer, for sure. Labour, you really need to sort yourselves out, because otherwise you are going to lose the next election, and it's going to be the lowest turnout election of all time, and a far-right government is going to get in power, and they're going to destroy everything you've ever done, and they're going to probably do some insane Trump bullshit and try and send you to jail or something. So just moving right has not worked. That is just a fact. We can all see it. Just stop doing it.